It's gonna be a crazy one, man. We got some casualties at Fort Stewart.
We're going to move forward. We have more on the breaking news right now. Fort Stewart Army Post in Georgia is in an active shooter situation. The base is on lockdown, and the scene, we're told, remains active. They do know that they are concentrating on one particular area on post, the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team area. We now have.
Shout out Fort Stewie. Shout out Fort Stewie. One, or was it two? I think it was two of my close cousins that was stationed there. It was either one or two of them, man. And I joined the army with them. That's crazy. Well, not with them, but at the same time, pretty much. We was all in the army together. Um, that's crazy at old Fort Stewie. And I got some people stationed there right now I need to check on too. But I know my people is good. I know my people is good. Gotta be, but this is just a crazy situation. Fort Stewie.
Have a reporter on this, Steve Harrigan, and
Shout out to Stewie, man, little Stewart that I used to bully up in the army. That was the homie though.
Atlanta. Steve.
Harris, the details are just beginning to come out about the trouble at Fort Stewart, which began just over 1 hour ago at 11:04 a.m. Law enforcement are on the scene, and there is still an active shooter on Fort Stewart. That, of course, is a huge Army
Still shooting? He took that.
base,
Y'all
the
know how
largest
to
in the
shoot,
East,
bro.
about 15,000
Been there most
personnel.
times these days.
What we know right now is there's at least one active shooter. We don't know if there's more than that. And we do know also that there are casualties. It's not clear whether they are dead or wounded or how many. But prayers have gone out from a number of leaders. Law enforcement is on the scene, and the commander of Fort Stewart says the base itself is on lockdown. No one in or out. People are being told to stay in their rooms, lock their doors. Active shooter still underway. Casualties, we don't know yet how many. Harris, back to you.
All right, Steve, I was taking copious notes there just in terms of the size of that base. So the fact that they've located at least an area of that base, however large it is, it at least tells us where we are in the story. We'll come back to you as the news warrants. Steve, appreciate the update now that you are on the story. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp said in a statement just a short time ago, as we remain in close contact with law enforcement on the ground, Marty, the girls, and I are saddened by today's tragedy at Fort Stewart. We are keeping the victims, their families, and all those who answer the call to serve in our hearts and prayers. And we ask that Georgians everywhere do the same. I want to just echo a little bit of what Steve Harrigan was reporting and what we knew just a few minutes ago. The military had.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. This morning, shortly before 11 o'clock, an active duty soldier assigned to Fort Stewart, Georgia, shot and wounded 5 of his fellow soldiers here on Fort Stewart. Thankfully, all are in stable condition and all are expected to recover. The alleged shooter is in custody. We have reestablished security. I have lifted all lockdown measures on Fort Stewart, and there is currently no threat to the local community. I'd like to recognize and thank our Army law enforcement security. I have lifted. The alleged shooter is in condition here on Fort Stewart. Thankfully, all are in stable. His fellow soldiers here on Fort Stewart. Thankfully, an active duty soldier assigned to Fort Stewart, Georgia, shot and wounded 5 of his fellow soldiers here on Fort Stewart. Thankfully, all are in stable condition and all are expected to recover. The alleged shooter is in custody. We have reestablished security. I have lifted all lockdown measures on Fort Stewart, and there is currently no threat to the local community. I'd like to recognize and thank our Army law enforcement and medical personnel and our partners from local, state, and federal law enforcement and emergency services for their quick response and support. I would also like to thank the brave soldiers who immediately intervened and subdued the shooter. These soldiers, without a doubt, prevented further casualties. Our wounded soldiers were initially evacuated to Wynn Army Community Hospital right here on Fort Stewart. All arrived in stable condition, and 3 of the 5 required surgical intervention. 2 have been transported to Memorial Hospital in Savannah, Georgia for additional care. We have identified the alleged shooter as Sergeant Cornelius Radford, an automatic Logistics Sergeant assigned to the 2nd Brigade Combat Team. Sergeant Radford has not previously deployed to combat. Sergeant Radford has been interviewed by the Army Criminal Investigation Division and is currently in pretrial confinement awaiting a charging decision by the Office of the Special Trial Counsel.
Fort Leavenworth, man. Taking to Fort Leavenworth. What happens there? I don't know, Keyo. Let me know. I'll let you know. You take big rocks, break them down, turn them into little rocks. Then what? Then you turn them back into big rocks. How do you do that? You figure it out when you get there. You don't. You just keep trying to, buddy. And keep breaking down other rocks.
Right now, our primary focus is first on caring for our injured soldiers and their families, and also supporting the soldiers of the Spartan Brigade. All of the families of the victims have been notified, and we're wrapping our arms around them and ensuring we provide them all the support that we can. Before I take questions, I want to remind you that this is an ongoing investigation, and we're still gathering questions.
You pretty much told me everything I needed to know. I'm just gonna see if there's any footage. There won't be. It's on the base. The only footage be on TikTok, I promise you. Anyways, appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Y'all send y'all's love to Fort Stewart. Y'all go ahead and put Fort Stewart, you know what I'm saying, with a big heart in the comments. It's a crazy world, man. Oh, Sergeant Cornrad, man, you tripping. You tripping, broski. You tripping hard. Love y'all. Peace. Like, comment.